think it was some of your guys that said that fatigue maybe in terms of the punt return, with guys playing a little bit tired at this time of year.
Well, let's put it this way. In the game, you've got to tackle. And when you get the opportunity to tackle, you've got to tackle. It really comes down to that. It's really difficult to ever embrace an attitude of tired, beat up, or whatever else because, in November in this game, everybody is. So, bottom line is, the games you remember are the games in November, and we got to block and we've got to tackle. And good things happen when you do.
So they were in position, on those punt returns to make the plays that.
Oh, sure, yeah. If you can go back and watch the TV copy or the game copy, and
right.
we had four hands on him, and had him halfway down. We slipped off, and he pulled out. Their punt returner made a good play, and we obviously did not. So that's really what happened last week.
There's a certain amount of, togetherness, pride if you're an offense or if you're a defense. Is there the same kind of thing with special teams, given that there's such a mix of guys on different ones?
Oh, I would think so. We have really, since we got here, Coach Harbaugh has given us an incredible amount of meeting time and practice time, and every special teams meeting is a team meeting. So really, your special teams reflect your team. And that's the way I've always looked at it. And one of the things is, if you want to see a team that's together, put on the kick and reel. And you know what? We've been a team that's been together for the huge number of plays. We've had 3 negative plays go against us, which is unfortunate because it only takes 1 negative play to really put a damper on a really nice body of work. But that's the nature of sports, I guess. But I really like our team's attitude and their togetherness. And, we've got 10 days left of this season, and we've got to finish it strong.
Kick return game has been a positive no matter who's returning it. Are you pretty pleased with that unit?
I am. And it's I have to chuckle at that because there was a day that I had this opportunity to talk to all of you last spring. And one of the questions came up is who's returning, and I pulled out a list and I read off about 10 names. Yeah. Well, you're seeing all those names. You're seeing Jabril, you're seeing J.U. Chesson, you're seeing DeMonte Thomas, you're seeing Jordan Lewis. You haven't seen Amara Darbo, but he does a really good job. You haven't seen Drake Johnson, but he does a really good job. And we've done a good job as a coaching staff teaching technique, teaching fundamentals, building depth, and teaching players concepts. So again, you can insulate yourself from a situation where you can insert guys and pull guys out and win situations. So I'm really happy with the progress that we've made there.
Was Lewis more about what he was doing in terms of returning kicks or giving Peppers a break?
I think both, actually. There was a game a couple games ago where we needed to give Jabril a little break and went with Lewis, but Jordan Lewis has done a fabulous job, and I'm happy that we've got good players and we can insert them and not lose traction. It's been fun to see, and they really enjoy returning kicks here. You can see that the way Jabril's gone after the ball all season, and the way they field balls, whether they're kicked opposite Jabril or they're kicked on the ground. It really doesn't matter where they've gone. The guys have done a really good job with them.
Are there certain things that Jabril, you've been around so many great returners, or things, is it just instinct with him, or is it natural, or are there more things to it than that, his ability?
Well, there's a phrase that I like to use that says talent is the raw material, but technique is the finished product. He's an awfully talented guy, but boy, he works at it. He really works at it. And, when you couple talent and work ethic, great things happen. And I think he's a real good example of that, as well as a lot of other players. This has been a really, really, really fun team to be part of, because from the time we were able to coach them in the spring and the time we were able to coach them in training camp, and then as we've gone the season, this team has embraced improvement every week. We've had our falters, but we also coach a game that the ball is not round, And, that is the game, unfortunately. And, but the bottom line is, when you add up your pluses and your minuses, when you have more points than the opponent, and you can learn from mistakes that don't cost you the football game, that's a good thing.
Can you kind of talk about Snipnewski gutting it out at Indiana? He had been nicked up, he was sick.
Yeah, I mean, it's a general policy not to talk about players, whatever, but I can say this. That kid gutted it up for this football team as much as I've ever seen a guy do it. He had 103 temperature, couldn't keep anything down all the way through pregame, and literally kept reducing that game in 5-minute segments. Basically staying quarantined from his teammates because of the flu and those kinds of things, and fighting nausea and the fatigue and the aches that come with that. And you know what? We had one snap that, cost us a field goal opportunity. But my goodness, to see that kid man up, however you want to put it, and fight for his team, it was great. And, those are the things the life skills that I think are really a great part of being a coach and a teacher, and seeing young people learn things about themselves.
Did he break his thumb on the snap against Michigan State?
No,
Okay.
no. Just,
During the game?
huh?
During that game?
No, he never broke it.
Okay, but he's got a wrap on it. So.
Yeah, he's got a bruise, so he's got it protected, it's just tape.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
When did that happen? In the state game?
I believe so, but I don't know exactly when.
John, for you on a personal note, you mentioned how things are coming together,
Right.
team-wise. I mean, you guys have one of the most efficient special teams in the country. Remember before the Utah game, how that was special for you, just this season in general for you. It's been kind of a lot of moments. You're seeing a lot of growth.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, it's, Utah now seems like it was 20 years ago, It's just funny how the season progresses. And, we went to Utah really not knowing who our team was, and you don't really know your team until they play a game. We've gotten to know this team, and they're fun guys to coach. And it's been fun for me to move back to the Midwest where I'm from and have all my family come to games and those kinds of things. But really rewarding to see this team progress. And we've got 2 weeks ahead of us that we really gotta work to get something done. And that's what we're in the midst of.
When you see the progress, a lot's been said about Jabril, but Kenny's become a better kicker. I mean, just the one-on-one stuff with the guys. What have you enjoyed most about that?
Right. Well, of course, here we are in spring, and Kenny is a walk-on, essentially backup punter to the guys that were in last year that I did not have the opportunity to coach. But I did see the results of the games and the film. And but we just have told all of our players, embrace playing football. Every one of you has a set of tools in a toolbox. If you bring your tools every day, we'll find a way to use them. And he certainly embraced kicking and punting. And as it worked out, he became the kicker. And you would have to look and correct my numbers, but if you look total shots at the polls, I think he's 53 of 57. Extra points, field goals. That's fabulous from a guy that wasn't even talked about as the kicker 8-9 months ago. And, Blake has done a good job punting. We just got to tackle a little better. But he's been an effective weapon for us.
You ever had an 80-some yard punt before?
That was it. I've had some 60s. Never that. That's a big number.
Just a couple more for Coach
I know
Baxter.
you probably don't get Jake Rudock much on special teams, but as a guy who has the academic background and preparation and priorities and all that stuff that you've done, what do you see of his professionalism everybody talks about and the way he approaches getting ready for everything he does?
Wow, I'll tell you, we see a lot of them because we see all our players every day. He holds for us, and Blake's the holder, but Jake holds every other one, and had a bunch of guys in that competition, and he won that. It was just a lot easier to use Blake, for example, as the holder because they can practice together all the time. But he's just an amazingly calm, consistent, mature, intelligent guy, and he's just a steady guy. Just steady, progress. And you know, he gets us in the right place, he throws the balls to the right people, he scrambles when he needs to scramble, he's a good decision maker, and my gosh, has he been a godsend to our team, you know? Huge part of what we're doing.
You had the one returned against Rutgers, it was a low line drive kick on one hop. I would imagine you wanted to either get that higher or to the end zone, and how much did that factor into it? And do you like Kenny to kick it out of the end zone whenever he can? Is that
Oh,
the
yeah,
goal?
of course, yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
But, you know, wind is always a factor in this stadium, in this conference. That's one thing that's been interesting for me. It's not really a factor in the West. You have altitude and light wind most of the time. Yeah, he didn't really hit the ball particularly well, but let's just also say this. That kid from Rutgers had 5 credited special teams touchdowns. We knew we were dealing with an explosive guy there. We knew that's you're on the razor's edge. You know who those guys are in the NFL that are like that. And, you know, when you make a mistake, they make you pay. So let's give that kid some credit and then understand that, you know, once again, that wasn't our finest effort of tackling and closing a hole, and we've got to make an improvement there. And, you know, on the flip side, we've got those kinds of guys for us that are a threat to go all the way, and, okay, that's football. So the places where we leak oil, we got to get those oil leaks patched, and we're doing that.
We haven't seen you since the Michigan State game. Was it one of those where you kind of rubbed your eyes and blinked, like, did that really just happen?
Yeah, I think my reaction's pretty much the same as all of yours. You know, it's just the fluke of all flukes. And, you know, when this is my 30th college football season, and when you think you've seen it all, don't worry, something else is coming. You know, it's a game with really neat young people and a ball that's not round, and I guess, you know, that's what creates the drama. So,
Were you surprised with how well Blake handled it after? He was very eloquent talking to us a few days later and dealing with the social
Yeah.
media stuff.
you know, the thing is you talk about another guy like Jake Rudock that's helped the team, is an older guy, a mature guy, and you know what he said to me is he talked about, should I write a statement or what should I do? And my only thought was, I just talk to the media, and he says, well, I'm going to get to. I said, of course you are, you know, and of course you are, and he says, well, good, that's why I came to Michigan, you know, I came for exposure, you know, I came to play on the big stage. Well, that's what you get, and you know. But I'm really proud of Coach Harbaugh and our team and our coaches and the way guys have stood in there and addressed straight away, you know, what has happened. And, you know, if you're going to take the accolades, you gotta take the other side too. And, you know, but it's a fun organization to be part of right now.
We're gonna get Coach moving. Thank
Thanks,
you for your
Coach.
time.